Balance. It is a tricky definition and topic, but it is so important to our health, our well-being, and our wellness. And today we're going to talk about it. What does it mean? How does it feel? How does it feel when we're in balance and we're out of balance? What are some tips to get ourselves to think about balance and to find our way back to the path of balance? So listen in.
Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
and Monique,
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
In each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I'm Monique.
Today's episode is an exciting one. I just know we're going to love digging into the word of the day, balance, something we are always seeking. And Monique is going to talk to us about that very subject.
Yes, thank you. This is an elusive concept that I have been chasing for so long.
The great chase.
I feel like I'm always trying to find equilibrium, right?
Yeah.
And why is balance important? Right? Why does this actually matter in our lives? Well, when we are out of balance, we kind of don't feel it. We feel off. You know,
right.
I know when I'm out of balance, suffer, struggle. Yes.
Your whole world.
Your mental, physical health, emotional, spiritual health. It affects our relationships when we're out of balance in one way or the other, whether our work relationships, our personal ones, the way we act, because there's parts of us who are like, what about me? Right?
Yeah. I mean, the parts that you're out of balance on are screaming for attention.
They're like, hello, can we have fun? Do you remember fun? Can we not be a work zombie? I mean, that's just what I gravitate towards is work.
That's what you're,
that's
what
right.
You're hearing when you're out of balance.
That's what my little voice says.
Work zombie.
Right. And I think that maybe mental struggles are on the rise because we just live in this culture that cultivates workaholism and being and living out of balance, the pursuit of fill in the blank, right? So, what is balance actually? So this is a definition that I found that I really liked. It means that we can fully engage in what we need or want to do without this thing. I'm sure you've felt this. That nagging guilt or worry that we should be doing something else. Oh my gosh.
Oh, mic drop on
Bomb,
that quote.
Bitch.
That definition.
Sorry about this one.
That really did actually hit hard right there.
Yep.
I had this whole reel playing in my head of myself running around my house thinking about all the things I should be doing.
Right. While you're just, I'm watching the Netflix show and oh shit, I'm shoulding myself.
Yep.
And it means really understanding our own boundaries and needs so that we have the freedom, what we all want, my word of last year, to pursue the various roles and identities we want to have or do have in our lives. That's what balance means.
That's so good.
Profound.
That's so good. Yes.
Yes.
We will actually put that in our show notes for this podcast because I want people to be able to go back and like clip that and read that. So note to producer, let's put that in the show notes.
Good. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah.
That one like
Yeah, I really
hit
did.
huge for me. That whole thing of like sitting there and doing the thing, the relaxing or whatever the thing is that you're choosing to do without the guilt or shame.
Wow, that is the first time I've heard balance described like that. And it is actually right now currently blowing
Your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of blew mine a little.
Yeah, because it's immediately out of balance if whatever you're doing in the moment,
It's taking
you're
you out of the
thinking
moment.
about something else.
It's taking you out of the
taking you out
moment.
of the moment.
So it is an individual thing. Your definition of balance is not going to look like my definition of balance, which isn't going to look like somebody else's
Right.
definition, right? It's individual. So some people need a lot of maybe downtime. They need more Netflix and chill time. Then there's some people who need that connection time. Like,
Yep.
I mean, let's just think about introverts and extroverts, right?
Sure. Yep. What their balance looks like is different.
Is different. How I recharge my battery is not how so-and-so recharges their battery. I maybe need more connection with outsiders, where someone who's maybe more inclined to be an introvert needs more alone processing time to kind of shut things down and really like reassess and recalibrate what it means for them. There's more than one way to find balance in the world, though.
And that second part of your statement really spoke to me too, that we're multidimensional humans.
Oh, yeah.
We are not only ourselves, but we like and are drawn to take on other roles such as mother,
Right.
wife,
Right.
sister, friend, coworker, employer, coach, whatever. I mean,
Yes.
we are always assigning ourselves new personas. That's just part of the human experience.
Yes.
And so finding, the right combination of those things for what brings you that ability to sit with it without that guilt and shame.
Yes.
That's where the secret lies.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So some people, in order to find or achieve balance, so you talk about those boundaries that maybe need to be in place for yourself, really. I teach a class on boundaries, and it amazes me that people are like, I need so-and-so to do this. And it's like, how about you set a boundary for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? In just life in general. So boundaries. So some people really need to have like a fixed schedule for work. I think you and I would like die if
In
we're,
a fixed schedule? Yeah. I
have
was like,
done that.
that's not me.
You're like,
but okay.
yeah. I hear that some people need
But
that.
some people do need that.
Yes, they need
100%. They
9 to
thrive
5
in that.
because then they can turn off and do their thing.
Yeah. Because they maybe can't do that switch without that predefined boundary.
Right. Some people, they have to have a boundary around their mobile devices.
Well, a lot of people need
Yes. I mean,
that. That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely more all the
well,
time.
some people might prefer like maybe more flexibility like you and I with their schedules so that they can pursue when they maybe feel creative, the things that they want to pursue, or they just prefer more flexibility. So it's really nice to identify that we all, it's an individual journey, this pursuit of balance, right? And we defined why it's important to pursue balance because it really affects our health in all of the aspects of health. But it's also wise to point out then too that it means different things for different people. Like for you and I, we need to be close to our mobile devices because it's how we do our work and our work is flexible. But a 9-to-5er is like, it's 5 o'clock, this thing's going off, right? So for them, that's what more balance looks like for them, right? So you just have to kind of know your own secret sauce and what works for you and then leaning into that.
The other side of that is because I have a lot of flexibility, I need to create a boundary around not having guilt or shame if I'm not on the phone all the time checking email, right?
That's true.
So it's both sides of it. And
Yes.
it's, again, going back to that thing that you said in the very beginning, which is you are in balance when you are in the moment, not feeling guilt or shame about being there.
Right.
I really just can't stop thinking about that because
You're right.
that is not I've never heard it that way. And that changes my perception of when I will feel that I have reached a contentment or a balance.
Yes. And so really this balance is more of a mindfulness practice when we put it that way.
Does that come back to mindfulness of like being in the present moment?
Yes. Right. I really truly do think that
whatever you're doing,
I'm in balance because I'm in it 100% when I'm in it. And when I'm not in it, I'm not 50% here, 50% where I just was.
I'm 100% where I am next.
Right. Not that I'm forgetting to do things or whatever. It's more about like I'm in it when I'm in it and I'm able to, it's not a compartmentalizing, although I have done that and still continue to sometimes do that, but it's more of a, I'm in it when I'm in it and I'm not giving myself guilt or shame about not doing the thing because it's not in front of me. I am allowing myself to do this to the best of my abilities in that moment and knowing that the next best thing is around the corner and I will do that to the same level. Does that make sense?
Yes. I have a
thought
piece of art in my sunroom, which is where I enjoy my downtime the most. And I'm probably going to butcher this, but it's essentially like time wasted is not wasted if it's time you enjoy wasting. Right?
Yeah, so if it's time well spent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, or I mean, if it's what you enjoy wasting it on, it's not wasted.
Right.
And that's sort of speaking to that balance issue.
Right.
Like leaning more into those things that feel that they do not bring you the guilt and shame is going to make the way you spend the rest of your time more in alignment as well.
Yes. Agreed. So, how do you know if you found yourself kind of out of balance, right?
Yeah, you just don't feel right.
Right. I don't have the energy to do the things I really want to do, or I'm
dread.
Right. Or this one, have you ever been doing the thing that you've been looking forward to doing, i.e. vacation, event, and you're just like, I'm not even enjoying this because I'm not able to be here because I'm fractional.
100%.
Scattered.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Too often have felt that way.
Yes.
And I actually was on a recent trip with my husband and we had a down day, where we weren't on a schedule running from museum to museum. I lost my mind, couldn't figure out what to do with myself. Like I had a actual breakdown, found myself in tears for no good reason. But I just realized like I had been so helter-skelter on the other side of balance. And when I righted back up there, I felt off. I had to then work my way back into like feeling not pulled in any one strong direction or the other.
Right.
But because I suddenly that scale tipped the other way where I had time on my hands, I didn't even know what to do with myself.
Yeah. That is how you know you're out of balance.
Right, because I was too firmly tipped towards the go crazy.
Yes.
When I immediately went back to like we have downtime.
Oh shit.
That felt terrible.
Yeah, like
so
what?
We had to even it back out and realize like there was a imbalance there, but I hadn't felt it yet. Also, just think about like the body too, like feeling off in your balance.
Oh, right. The actual physiological balance issues.
I did a cold plunge where I actually jumped in the lake.
Good on you.
In the winter Great Lake. And I couldn't feel my feet afterwards. So that's an interesting sensation.
Not having any grounding.
And not being able to balance.
Yes.
Because you literally cannot feel the feet underneath you. And I had a physical just like thought in my head about like how off that is. And how all I wanted was to get that feeling back under my feet.
Right.
And if you just take that actual physical feeling and apply it to life,
yes,
it really makes you think.
So it's
not recommend not being able to feel your feet.
Don't stand so long then, maybe.
Well, I'm going to get myself some of those neoprene booties. Because I liked the cold plunging. That is not out.
Neoprene booties.
It's got to adjust.
So it is kind of like balance, a foundational piece, right? It gives you that grounding, right? It gives you that structure, that foundation, to use your analogy about the feet.
Yeah.
That holds you up so you can do all of the things. I need balance so I can fill in the blank, right?
Yeah. So I can take a step forward.
Right. And
If your feet are out of balance, you're going to take a step forward, you're going to fall down.
to your thoughts about your trip, right? When you had a down day, you get so absorbed in something without worrying about other tasks or feeling guilty that you should be doing something else. You weren't able to do that. Like,
I couldn't stop it.
Right.
I was literally looking out at this gorgeous ocean thinking, wait, maybe I should go for a swim. Maybe I should do this. What should I be doing? How should I be spending my time right now?
habitual doing.
I couldn't just
Be.
I was so out of balance.
Yeah. So when we get to these points in our lives where our balance is off, whether it's work life, I mean, if we had play life being skewed, I mean, I don't know that would be a bad thing.
I mean, some people it is.
I suppose.
Some people
Right.
play harder than
Yes.
they work.
Yes.
And
You're
then
right.
guess what? Other things don't work out for them.
Yes. Right. Why can't I get ahead in X, Y, or
Because
Z?
you're
Yeah.
you don't have
You're
balance.
goofing around all the time, whatever.
Right. I mean, there's definitely,
Right.
I mean, I have to think about that sometimes too. Again, with the travel.
Yeah.
I
That's true.
love it. It's my passion. I have to sometimes check it and say, have I completely skewed that balance too?
Right.
Right? Like I do still need to attend to my affairs.
Yes. So when we work towards more balance in our lives, whether it's work life or whatever, it's really setting an intention to prioritize our wellness,
And our groundedness.
our wholeness. How whole or embodied in my life am I? Right? Are all of the parts, the spokes of the wheel, functioning properly, or any of them not getting enough energy to make the wheel go around?
I'm thinking about this in like practice. Could I go through a day? Could I go through a week, a month, whatever time frame, and write down every time I think to myself, like I should be doing something different, or my balance is pulling.
It should
me.
be second by second for me sometimes.
I know. I was like,
Holy crap, I just had the
whoa.
thought. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would imagine that other people are feeling this way.
Yes.
It's just a pretty hot button topic.
Right.
So with every chance that I get to tip myself a little one way or the next to shut down that narrative, I feel that would really be beneficial.
Yes. And
That
I don't
awareness.
know if we'll ever be able to shut it down, like stop it from existing. And I'm not saying that's what you're saying. But
No, and that shouldn't be the
goal.
End goal isn't absolute stillness. Then it's
right.
just like you're not moving it forward at all.
Right.
You're just
You're the Buddha
still.
sitting under the tree, and is that what you want for your life? Right. Like a lot of us, I feel like, came here to evolve and grow. And I'm not saying Buddha didn't. I'm just, anyways, sidebar, squirrel. Sorry, I had a squirrel moment. That said, I do feel like a lot of us, if you can catch yourself
Yeah.
when you're having this, I have nothing to do. I told this story not that long ago, and I won't share all of the aspects of it, but I had nothing to do. I was sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden my body got up, and I was like, I gotta go. And I was like, you gotta go do what?
Yeah.
You got nothing. Nothing, girl. And then I laid back down. Oh yeah, right. Wait, I gotta get up. I gotta go. And I was like, you gotta do what?
Yeah.
I mean, the doing has
Yeah.
become the thing versus the being.
Yep.
So for me, balance is like, it's not that I'm ever going to stop that inner narrative, because I am an ambitious person at my core, and I have tried really hard to not be, but I am. So that said, I know that about myself. I know that that's a pretty big driving force. So now it's more about like recognizing, kind of like you've said in past sessions that we've been in together. Oh, hello, old friend.
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
There you are telling me to do. And right now is my time to be.
Yeah.
My time to just sit and be nothing
And
everything.
you can gently tip that back.
Yes.
That's the swing of it is what causes the pain.
Beautifully said.
Can you gently right yourself into a little bit better balance? So
Yeah.
you're not
Yes.
going like this. You're not
Yes.
like fluctuating.
Yes.
High, low. You're gently getting yourself back to a little bit of, like you said in the beginning, equilibrium.
Yes. So that said, just knowing yourself enough too. So a lot of times what I will do is I'll put in a verbal cue, right? So like I've got to wait. Let's take a pause. Let's take a sacred pause.
Ooh, a
Let's-
sacred pause.
Right? Let's just sit here for a minute. We don't have to react. We can be. And so asking myself a question, what is it? What is it that I think I have to go and do? Does it have to be done right now?
Yeah.
Does this thing that seems to be urgent in my mind, is it a priority? Or can this thing just be put off for a little bit, right? I mean, I used to ask employees when I had them, is this an emergency or is this your version of an emergency? And a real emergency is the house on fire or is someone dying?
Yeah. Do we need to call 911?
Right. That's a real emergency. So if I can even run it through the framework of the lens of like, is this really an emergency that you actually have to, when you've set aside 2 hours to sit and watch a Netflix show or whatever the thing is you need to do to like get up and I gotta go. Come on, girl, like sit the heck back down and get your balance back on. I don't know.
It makes me think about a word that we use a lot of getting in the flow or a phrase, and that the flow state is really where that scale is pretty even. It's slowly rolling back and forth, but it is not swinging heavily or weighting down heavily in one direction or the other. And when I think about feeling in balance for myself, it's feeling in flow.
Yes.
Feeling like I am just effortlessly flowing from one thing to the next. I am mom, I am boss, I am wife, and I am just kind of floating through those roles.
Right.
And that feels amazing. It feels great to float, right? Like you think about even just physically.
Floating in water, like
water,
in the ocean, in a warm ocean.
Really powerful feeling. So I think when people talk about balance, they see that scale swinging back and forth. And if they even just visualize, like the power of visualization, just like getting themselves to like an even flow, knowing that something's always going to be tipping at it or triggering it in one direction or the other, but feel yourself into less of a fly off the couch. Like you said, use those trigger words or those
cues.
Instead of just fly up and go run do the other thing.
The reactions, yes.
Think.
Yes.
Breathe. If it's still burning emergency in your brain, go do it.
Right.
But intentionally, and you're not going to then trigger this like total shifting of your weight.
Right.
This is good stuff.
Well, okay, a couple more things. So tips for balance. When you are out of balance and you're just like a doer at work, asking for help.
Oh, wow.
What a novel
Imagine
concept for some of us.
Seriously, it's such an important tool to learn that many of us don't have.
And then making sure that you're being realistic, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I used to be and I still sometimes just called myself out. I will write 5 things on my to-do list for the day, get them done, and then write 5 more because, I mean, why not just add more producing on top of more producing so that I never relax, right? Be clear about expectations. You were kind of, we're talking about that a little bit. Like, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it's because that's a measurement.
Yes.
So if you're clear about expectations, then you can feel that you could let up on that thing, that you could say, okay, I can move on to something else because I've met this expectation.
Right. Taking breaks occasionally, pauses. We talk about those pauses.
What's a yin and a yang?
Right.
If you're going to grind, you better meet that other side with a pause, but getting there in a flow state versus a harsh tip one way or another. Oh my gosh, this is making me think of my marriage, that I can so quickly vacillate between chill and 1,000%. And the people around you, when you are like that, like I am, It's really hard on them.
It
that
is.
causes some whiplash.
Yes.
And
they can feel it, even if you're not directing it at them.
Yeah. And that is, if I think more intentionally balanced about my transition from one state to the next, it's a much smoother ride for everybody in my field, right? And
yes.
I just really hit me hard there that I've learned to live on that rocky, tipping the scale back and forth and like quickly finding my ground. But the people that are also sharing that scale with me, like that's a lot harder on them.
Yeah, the relationships suffer.
They
As
do.
we talked about in the beginning of the talk, relationships really struggle. Not only because you're not able to have the time or capacity to connect, but it's also they feel the angst around this gotta. Like,
Yeah.
hey, can you just be here now when you actually are here? The 5 minutes you're here?
Yeah.
You know, it's palpable, right?
It is.
Right. So, yeah, I think that a good question to ask yourself, and maybe you just do a little pie chart for people, is do a balance assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the areas, the spokes of the wheel of my life, right?
Wheel of life. That's an exercise we've done actually in our
Yes.
mastermind group. That's really valuable.
Yes. Here's work. Here's family. Here's love, romance,
creativity.
right? And then here's your hobbies. Here's your physical body. Here's your diet, nutrition, whatever the thing is, right? Put all of the things on there.
Everything gets a little piece of the pie.
Right. And then rate it where it's at.
Yeah.
So you can see, how is it? What is the health of it?
Yeah.
So really coming back to achieving balance or the pursuit of it is if we can make ourselves or our wellness, our self-care, our whole self, all of the parts of ourself,
Right.
a priority, then things more organically fall in line.
I think about it like if you create that pie chart, that wheel of life, and your core values, your priorities that you choose are on that pie chart. Again, there's no right number, but maybe it's 5 things, maybe it's 10 things, but these are the things, right? For
Right.
today. These
Right.
are the things today that I prioritize. And then you color them in based on how much,
Right.
they,
where you're
they
at.
rank in their order. And each one look at that and how do you feel? Like if I were to color it in and I would say like my physical health, and I would look at that and see I'd given it a really small slice of my pie.
Right.
Probably in practice. And I'd probably look at that and feel, doesn't feel balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I should, or I could consider giving that more of me, giving that more of my attention. Or I might look at it and think, that looks about right. I feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to trigger a feeling one way or another when you look at that whole wheel. And then making those subtle adjustments to expand or contract the areas into something that feels better.
Right.
Versus a full swing, right? Because we all know if I were to go, the health is the only thing that I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to swing myself in
Then
the
you're
full
gonna be out of balance.
other direction,
You're
and
out of
I'm going to go to
balance.
the gym every day, and well, guess what else is going to suffer?
Right.
My work, my family.
Yes.
So, but what is that right size of the pie for me?
Yeah. So it's always good for us to we know maybe, or we have an idea of where we want or what our perfect form of balance can look like, right? Like if you did like this really cool tool, a future self meditation, which we've done before, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is me in my highest and best form. How the heck am I going to get from where I'm at, which is not my highest and best form because I'm out of balance, to balance? So where do I start? I assess where I am at right now with complete transparency and honesty.
Yeah.
And not judgment, right? Because I think sometimes people are like, well, that's not really, no, just be honest with yourself. Do a little bit of an assessment. And then you can see how, okay, these, like your health, like you were saying, this is out of balance. But then again, I could go to the gym every day, eat all of the food, and then I would be out of balance in other areas. Or also talking about family and relationships, they're going to feel the struggle. Like, we didn't sign up for this, like whatever. Yeah. So how can I just take the next best step?
Yeah.
Right.
Again, the gentle.
Yes. Approach.
Yes. Like iterative approach to getting there versus a full scale swing.
Yes.
In one direction.
It's not an all or nothing. If this is truly an infinite game that we are playing, it is what's like the perfect or the next or the best or the easiest step that I can take. Right.
Change. Yeah.
What's the gentle path to get there?
Yes.
Right?
I really, really like thinking about that today because I am a personality that has a lot of high highs. I wouldn't say that I have a lot of low lows, but I can swing it up high real fast where I'm like, we're going to charge down this path. And then when I don't do it, it could feel like a pretty big dip.
Yeah.
And so just moderating that to be a little bit more gentle.
Mm-hmm.
And then gentle with myself and my loved ones. And I like this train of thought. Wow. I mean, the whole point of this podcast is to give us lots of things to think about and share and get our listeners thinking about. And I welcome, any feedback that people have on if this was useful, helpful, provided value, and thinking about balance in their lives. And I really personally am going to leave here today and think about that definition. And again, I'm going to make sure that we link that because that is a whole different way to
it's a new way of thinking about it.
About balance. We'll also link to the Wheel of Life exercise because
sure. Great idea.
Practical. Like
tips.
You said, I think most people know what their priorities are. I don't know.
Where they want,
I don't know if they do.
Right.
Right.
That's
do most people really do that exercise?
Maybe not.
So here's a tip. Start here, right? Start with this. So
it's like an assessment of where you're really at.
Start with that and then slowly, gently, subtly maneuver yourself a little bit more into balance. See how you feel. See if you can feel your feet under you. Seriously. That was a weird feeling. Well, with that, it's been a really cool conversation with you today, Monique. And as always, looking forward to the next one. And so with heart, I'm Mariah.
And with soul, I am Monique.